everybody to the March 10th school board meeting. I'll invite everyone to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance in honor of our flag and our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Amy, can you do roll call?
Ms. Slattery?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here.
Mrs. Taube?
Here. And I will read our mission statement. The Northwest Local School District will create a responsive learning community where all students are valued, challenged, and guided along a pathway to success. Now we need to have approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. And we can vote on that. And that passes without opposition.
Our first item up tonight is our presentation for our winter competitive music and competitive athletic groups. So our Director of Student Services, Jake Kuhnlein, is going to come up and facilitate all 5 of our secondary buildings doing this recognition. Before he gets started, I'm going to ask that we transition down to the front row. That way we are able to see the students and shake hands once they are awarded their certificates, and then we'll come back up for the rest of the meeting.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We're here to celebrate, I heard. In fact, 3 months ago on December 9th, we had a board meeting and celebrated our fall athletes at the board meeting. And a few hours later, I was driving my wife to the hospital to have my newborn daughter. So no matter what happens tonight, I will get more sleep tonight than I did 3 months ago. So things are looking up. Thank you to the board members for allowing us for this to be possible. I appreciate it. My name is Jake Kuhnlein. I'm the Director of Student Services. Tonight is not about me at all. I'm going to get off this podium in here just a moment, but I just want to give gratitude to our board, our athletic directors, our boosters, our coaches, our parents, our families, and yes, even our players, our athletes, our participants. Our participants bring us a ton of joy and make school come alive and feel positive. But to our participants, our athletes, make sure you thank those other folks tonight that make this possible too. So our board, our boosters, our ADs, our coaches, our families that just work around the clock to make athletics and music performances and all of the things that make school fun possible. So thank you. Before I turn it over to our schools for some logistics, there's going to be a lot celebrated tonight. And so before you put your hat on of like, that's my boy, that's my girl, I want to actually pause and say like, that's our district, that's our school, that's our community. Because tonight, while I won't spoil the fun and put names or schools in front of this, we are celebrating Conference Players of the Year, district championship winners, state qualifiers, strong finishes and growing programs in areas of focus like middle school girls basketball, girls wrestling, growing, expanding, and thriving, locker room renovations, our bands flourishing with over 19 honors and recognitions, 19-5 basketball season records resulting in conference championships and postseason victories in OSHA tournaments. Just a ton of awesome things happening. So before we clap and celebrate individual athletes, which is absolutely why we're here tonight, I just want to give it up to and celebrate our schools, our community, and our district, because we should be proud of what is possible here at Northwest Local School District. So let's give it up for everyone. We prove on the field and off the field that we can weather a lot of storms and be successful, and tonight is no exception. In just a minute, we're going to go alphabetical order by school. And so we'll have Colerain High School, Colerain Middle, Northwest High School, Pleasant Run Middle, White Oak, in that order. Your athletic directors and your coaches that are present will call you up by sport and talk a little bit about the season and also some of the athletes and participants that are getting recognized. If your name and sport is called to my athletes and participants, please come down in one of the 2 middle rows, not one of the 2 outside rows. You'll get stuck behind the podium or stuck trying to walk around the screen. So just come down one of the 2 middle rows. Once you get down here, please just make a single file line across the front. If you fill the TV to the podium, then start a new line so that we can have you all up here and celebrate and applaud you. After that is done, your athletic director will prompt you to then leave in a single file line to just get some love and recognition from your board members before you head out. After you head out, you can head to the front lobby. Your coaches and athletic directors have certificates of recognition for you, and then you are more than welcome to come back in to celebrate the rest of the teams and schools and community with us as well. And I know the board would say this as well, you're welcome to stay all night. So without any further ado, I'm gonna bring up Matt Stoynoff, our athletic director at Colonial High School, and the coaches from that team.
All right, first and foremost, to the board, thank you for having us here tonight. We're gonna honor some great athletes here tonight. So let's start with our boys basketball team, and then we'll go girls basketball, bowling, swimming, chess, academic quiz team, indoor track, and wrestling. So boys basketball, if we want to start, Phil Emery was a all-district 16 honorable mention. Donovan Chambers, all-district 16 honorable mention. Roman Gar, all-district 16 honorable mention. And Roman Gar was also our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award. So you'll hear that, so each team can do a, yeah. So each sport, per the GMC, can do a Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award, and what that means is basically you're taking the one individual on your team that you want to represent the district, the building, and your team, and so we'll have one of those for each one. Boys basketball, a good year this year, very young. We had 1 freshman, 2 sophomores, and 2 juniors playing, so very excited for the future and for what they can do. So up next will be our girls basketball team. Alana Miller was second team All-GMC, and Alyssa Brooks was our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award. Our girls basketball had an amazing finish to the season. They beat Middletown, a GMC team, and then they finished and beat Lakota East, who was second ranked in the GMC, to finalize their season. So congratulations to them. A very young team as well, so we're excited to have all of them back. On to bowling. Second team All-GMC, Christopher Salnick. Second team All-GMC, Colin Ramey. And then our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award was Gabe. So congratulations to our bowling. On to girls bowling. So we had the GMC Bowler of the Year this year on our girls side. And so that's an amazing accomplishment. It's just amazing to be a part of for our team. So Michaela Gear was our GMC Bowler of the Year. Michaela was also first team All-GMC. Michaela Doyle was second team All-GMC. Riley Selmeyer was second team All-GMC. And Sophie Steinbach was our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award. On to our swimmers. Colton Kahn was a district qualifier 100 backstroke. Andrew Williams was a district qualifier 200 freestyle. Maddie Williams was a district qualifier 200 freestyle. She was also a district qualifier 500 freestyle, and she was a 4-time district qualifier for Maddie Williams. And I also have Landon Welch, who was our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award for our swimming team. And you'll recognize that a lot of these athletes aren't here because they're probably doing a spring sport or club or something like that, and so they're very busy. On to chess. So again, we had that GMC Player of the Year. We had 3 GMC Players of the Year in just a winter season, so that's amazing. Paul Nerswick was our GMC Player of the Year. Paul was also first team All-GMC. Norman Ray was second team All-GMC for chess. And then Anthony Abercrombie was our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award. Congratulations to chess. Academic quiz team. Layla Klotz was second team All-GMC, and Natalie Greenwell was our Steve Shuck Sportsmanship Award. Congratulations. Indoor track and field, we had Brianna Bolden. She was a state qualifier. This was this past weekend, and she placed 8th place in the state tournament, and the best part is she's a freshman. So we get her for the next 3 years. So congratulations, Miss Bolden. All right, and then we'll finish with wrestling. DeMarco Cates, first team All-GMC, GMC Wrestler of the Year, the 113-pound GMC champ, sectional champ, district qualifier, and state qualifier. I was up there all weekend with them this weekend, and DeMarco's class at 113 had 5 nationally ranked kids in it, and DeMarco placed 8th in the 113-pound weight class. So I don't think people understand how difficult that is to be a state placer in wrestling, but DeMarco did an unbelievable job this weekend and represented us. So DeMarco, congratulations. Sorry, he's got so many, I missed one. He also had his 100th career win this year as well. So Jordan Jackson was first team All-GMC. Jordan was the 157-pound GMC champ, sectional champ, district qualifier. Delvin Holston was a district qualifier in wrestling. And then Josie Peters was our girl wrestler who made it and also is a district qualifier. So congratulations to them. So all in all, just a great winter season, very young, so we get a lot of these guys back and whatnot, and so we're very excited for the future. I did see some of our coaches here, but real quick, Hunter Hampton is here. I just want to congratulate Hunter on all his success that he's had. A room full of wrestlers is tough, and year in and year out, we have state qualifiers, people placing at state. So to him and his staff, they've done a phenomenal job. It's not common and normal to keep going to the state tournament, but we've been there every year. And so congratulations, Hunter and his staff, for keeping that organized and keep pushing. So these are our winter athletes.
Just turn and smile on Ms. Price. She'll take a picture. And if you're on this end, just come down this road, remember to shake your hand, and down up. Great job again to our Colerain High School athletes and participants. Incredible job, incredible work. I'm going to go ahead and call Colerain Middle up while we're making that transition.
Good evening. On behalf of Colerain Middle School, we will be recognizing athletes from our cheerleading, basketball, and wrestling teams. We will start with our cheerleader on behalf of Coach Benedict. Coach Benedict would like to recognize Reagan Capel. Reagan, are you out there? Reagan was a CMS cheerleader this year who worked at her best each practice and game. Going into basketball, she persevered to master her back walker on the gym floor. She was determined and did not give up. Reagan has been a leader as a 7th grader, and we are so lucky to have her positive energy on our cheerleading team this season. Girls basketball. 7th grade girls basketball, we have Samaya Campbell. Samaya became the leader of CMS basketball from day one. Samaya not only worked hard to be a good athlete and leader, but she also worked hard in the classroom by achieving A's throughout the basketball season. Samaya worked hard on her individual game, but also helped other athletes stay active and participate in practices so they could be better at the game. Samaya was a pleasure to coach, and I look forward to seeing what she can do as a student athlete in the future. Eighth grade girls basketball, Amelia Francis. Amelia is coachable, has a positive attitude, and is a good teammate. She led the girls basketball team in scoring this year, including a game winner as time expired in overtime against Hopewell. We're proud of Amelia for all of her hard work this season. Saw you up there, Coach Knott, Coach Duke. You want to come down and introduce our boys basketball and wrestlers?
Thank you. I'm Coach Knott. I know a lot of people in here, but not everybody. For 7th grade boys basketball, I would like to recognize Lloyd Trotter from Colerain Middle School, 7th grade basketball team. Lloyd is a standout leader both on and off the court. As a basketball player, he leads by example through his dedication, work ethic, and positive attitude. Lloyd brings the same focus and determination to the classroom, putting in effort to learn and improve. Whether he's hustling in practice, supporting his teammates, or staying focused in the classroom, Lloyd consistently shows what it means to be a true student athlete. His commitment to hard work and doing the right thing makes him a role model for his peers. Good job, Lloyd. And for 8th grade boys basketball, Daniel Sight. Daniel showed a high level of determination and great leadership skills by example, working hard at all times and holding his teammates accountable to work hard as well. Daniel is a natural-born leader that does things the right way. Daniel represents his team, teammates, coaches, and school very well and makes us all very proud. Good job, Daniel.
For wrestling, we have Braxton Alexander. Braxton had a record of 21-4 on the season and was the 92-pound champion at the GMC tournament. He worked hard all year and pushed himself to get better. In the GMC finals, he avenged a loss from earlier in the season to earn a 6-0 victory and a GMC championship. He is also a state qualifier. Next, we have Azariah Gervin. Azariah had a record of 27-1 on the season and won the 116-pound weight class at the GMC tournament, his second GMC championship. Azariah pushes himself and his teammates to get better and is always giving his teammates advice to help them improve as well. Azariah placed 4th at the OAC Harrison Districts tournament, qualifying him for the OAC Middle School State Championship tournament as well. We also have Jace Roberts. Jace helped the wrestling team as our team manager this year by helping set up the mats and clean them each day before practice. He also helped with logistics during practice, such as timekeeping and organization. We are very thankful for Jace and all of his hard work this season.
Thank you so much to Colerain Middle athletes and participants. Excellent work. All right, and next up will be Northwest High School.
Good evening. I just want to thank the board for allowing us to recognize our winter sports. Kevin Wilhelm, Dean of Students, Assistant AD here at the Northwest. We'll start off with calling our basketball coaches up first. We'll have Nick Argentati with our boys basketball.
Boys basketball had an amazing season this year. We were 19-5, which tied the school record for wins in a season. We won the SWAC championship for the third year in a row, and it was largely because of the guys, the 7 or 8 guys here that we're going to call up. I think a couple of them are here. Ethan Dixon won the SWAC Sportsmanship Award. Darian Blaine was honorable mention All-SWAC. TJ Griffin was second team All-SWAC. Vernon Leonard was second team All-SWAC. Trevante Thomas was second team All-SWAC. Michael Humans was first team All-SWAC, as well as honorable mention District 16, which is Hamilton County. And then he was also honorable mention Southwest Ohio, which is all the Division III teams in Cincinnati and Dayton. Jackson Calloway was first team All-SWAC, and he was also second team District 16 here in Hamilton County. And then Desai Bronson, who I know is here, can come on down. He had an amazing year, averaged 20 points a game for us. He's over 800 points for his career. Gonna hopefully, if he stays healthy next year and plays the whole season, will eclipse 1,000 points, which is really hard to do in high school basketball. He was SWAC Player of the Year. First team District 16, which again is all the Division III teams, one of the 5 best players in Division III in Hamilton County. And he was also first team Southwest Ohio, which again is Cincinnati-Dayton Division III, one of the 5 best players in Southwest Ohio. So, and he's only a junior, so looking for big things from him next year as well.
All right, next up we'll have girls basketball. Anthony Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. As a young program coming back in our second year trying to build it, these are some phenomenal ladies that just put a whole lot of energy and effort into building the program, and just want to recognize the ones that were recognized by our season. And it hasn't been mentioned before, but I always try to mention this. We can nominate our players, but it's the other coaches. You cannot vote for your own players for these recognitions. So it's important to understand that not only do we represent what we do inside of here, but the other schools are voting for our players, like this young man right here, and getting recognized by other schools outside of our district. So that's amazing. Dora Aikman made second team All-SWAC. Dora was top 3 in rebounding and top 3 in blocks this season. And if you've seen her, she's athletic, but she's 5'6". So for her to be able to do that is tremendously amazing. We faced girls that were 6'3", 6'2" in the post, and she's out rebounding them and blocking their shots. So she had an amazing season for us. Jana Jackson. Jay? Come on. I call her Jay, sorry. Jay. Just to speak about this young lady, that she was, from last year to this year, because I've only coached her for 2 years, she was somebody that was nervous to shoot, nervous to be aggressive, to turning into somebody that led us in shooting, was our top defender, was, I mean, just energy and effort all day long. And that goes to her, her family, and just her commitment to what she was doing. And she's got scholarships to go to college, academically. She's just an amazing young lady, and I was blessed to be able to coach her this year. Kalia Hughes. I'm not sure. Nope, there you go. So Kalia is a young lady that I begged to come out and play basketball this year and really wanted her to play. And if you've seen her, how athletic she is, she had 3 steals a game this year. Just a tremendous person as a point guard. So point guards, they can score, but for her to lead our offense, lead us in defense and steals and scoring, I mean, again, top 5 in steals in our league. And she's only a junior. We have her back to lead our offense again, so we're excited about what we have next year. And then last but not least, Elena Lapid. Elena is somebody that gives us a little bit of everything. I mean, she can shoot the ball, but she's just a tremendous leader, high character, high energy. I mean, just somebody that if you ask her to do something, she's going to do it. I trust her with my life. That's how much I love this young lady. She's amazing. And I'm, again, fortunate to be able to coach these young ladies and look forward to the future here. So, thank you.
All right, next up, we're going to go with our boys wrestling and girls wrestling. First person I'm going to have call up is Dexter Carpenter.
Hello, my daughter, I had the privilege of getting a coach with me. It's going to make me very happy. She got to be my assistant with me. She's going to do the enunciation and the names. I just want to say the board gave me an opportunity to have an all-girls wrestling team. We made history. As you'll see later by the awards, we had a freshman win the sectional championship. I've been coaching wrestling for 76 years, male and female, and I've never had a freshman win the sectional championship and another freshman to go runner-up. We're going to introduce them, and I want to thank the board for taking a chance with me on this because we made history here.
So first, I'm going to start with our placers. So Esta Benhadi was placed first in the sectional as a freshman. We had Kamari Brinkley, placed third in the Southwest sectional. Adina Ismail, placed second in the Southwest sectional. Samira Lewis, placed fifth in the Southwest sectional. And Kausha Lumbi, placed fourth in the Southwest sectional. And also Miranda Rubio, placed fifth in the Southwest sectional. So about this first part of the group, I want to point out that 3 out of 5 of these girls are freshmen. The other 2 are only juniors, so these are all returning girls next year. So it's a great thing to see what our team's gonna be next year. As a team, for a first-time team, we placed fourth in the Southwest sectional as a team. So with that, I'm going to announce the rest of our girls that helped us get to that point. So Avonlea Ansel, I don't think she's here today, but we had Ariana. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna butcher her last name, Ariana. I love you, I'm not gonna do it. We also had Lily Snyder. Zariah Martin. Stephanie Mina Pina. Jocelyn Arletta. I'll probably butcher that, I'm sorry. And this is our girls team that went fourth as a team in the Southwest sectional. I also would like to bring up Alyssa, our manager, who helped us get through scoring, videos, and just being a team support when she could. She originally was supposed to be one of our wrestlers, but she still decided to stay with us and support the team in any way that she could.
What I want to say is, so you'll understand, most of these young ladies had never did a sport. And wrestling, and I'm going to give swimming credit, wrestling and swimming is one of the hardest sports in the building. They have to watch their weight. They have to be aware of whether they're eating. And none of them have ever wrestled. No kid program, no junior high program. They had never wrestled before. So what they pulled off was unreal. So thank you.
All right, next up we'll have Sean Gillian, one of our for boys wrestling.
All right. Excuse me, girls, seriously. Some of you know girls wrestling is very dear to my heart, and you guys were impressive, so nice job. I'm here to talk about the boys, who also had a pretty good season. We struggled with some injuries this year, but I want to go ahead and get into these recognitions, keep this rolling. So the first two we're going to talk about are league champs. Caleb Peters, who's a first-year wrestler with us, but not a first-year wrestler at all. He won at the 175-pound weight class. And I don't think Kingston is here. Kingston, fantastic wrestler, was ranked in the state all year. Probably wrestled a total of a half a dozen matches because of injuries, but we were able to get him in at the league tournament, and he won that, so I was super happy for him. Couple of second-place finishers, one of whom I know is here. Ian Lightbourne is not here, correct? Ian got second place at heavyweight, and Bryson Pryball, who's a freshman, got second in his weight class, which was 144. Yeah, 144. Bryson wrestled most of his season unknowingly with a torn labrum, so tough guy right there. And then we got a couple of sectional qualifiers. Sectional placers. Mark Brogdon at 113, he's not here, got fourth place at sectional, qualified for district. And Tanner Felix, who was also one of the main leaders on our team, he got second place at SWAC and second place at the Southwest Sectional. I believe he's away at a baseball game this evening, maybe a scrimmage, so he could not be with us. And then I've got one more new guy to wrestling, senior. I wish I'd had him for 4 years. Tobias Price got our SWAC honorable mention.
I'm also going to have Mr. Gillian come back up to announce we had one indoor track participant at the state meet, so he's going to introduce that young lady.
I don't think she's here this year. You'll recognize this name because we announced her last year as well. Deasia Cotton, for multiple years in a row now, has just been an outstanding high jumper, and just this past weekend she got 8th place at the state indoor track and field meet with a jump of 5'2". So.
All right, and our next coach, we're going to bring up Michael Gross with girls and boys bowling.
We have two teams to recognize. He mentioned the boys and the girls. We're going to start with the ladies. The first girl I want to bring up is Layla Morlami. She was second team All-SWAC. Following her is Emma Woodall. She was first team All-SWAC. Elisa Kennedy was first team SWAC. To go along with this theme, Morgan Hill, also first team SWAC. She also won the SWAC Sportsmanship Award. Emma, who I don't think was here as a senior, and our last bowler on the ladies I want to recognize is senior Haley Goodman. She was first team SWAC. All of these ladies made it to the regional qualifiers. They bowled very well, just not quite making it to state. Very proud of the ladies that they did this year. The conference in the girls bowling, they only had 2 teams, which made conference awards a little bit odd. As you can see, we had 4 of 5 positions for first team, but did not get the bowler of the year. That's not to take away from what Haley Goodman did, leading the entire conference of all female bowlers with a 199 average. So congratulations, Haley. On to the boys bowling. I want to first recognize Levi Engelman for second team All-SWAC. Then we have Geraldo Salgado, second team SWAC. We have Gabe Taylor, first team SWAC. And last but not least, Carson Singleton. Carson finished first all-conference and SWAC Bowler of the Year, averaging 215 for this season. I got to work with both teams throughout the season, mainly with the ladies team, but also worked with the men's team. And it was fantastic. Every single bowler, and I'm sure every athlete up here is amazing to work with. The dedication and time that they put in is something that just, I can't express how wonderful it is as a coach to see them here every day pushing and working hard. I appreciate every bowler that we've had on the girls team, on the boys team, and the rest of the athletes that are up here right now. Thank you very much.
All right, and our last student we'd like to recognize is our band. I think some of them are here tonight. The first one is Ryan Bindelman, Tri-State Band Symposium and Wright State University's Honor Bands. Madison Holt, Tri-State Band Symposium, Superior Ensemble and Excellent Ensemble at OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Graydon Hutchinson, here, Tri-State Band Symposium and Wright State University Honors Bands. Mackenzie Hutchinson, Excellent Ensemble and OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Donasia Sims, Superior Ensemble and OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Maxwell Kohler, Superior Ensemble at the OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Dewash Rizal, Tri-State Band Symposium and Excellent Ensemble at OMEA Solo Ensemble Contest. Caden Stevenson, Excellent Ensemble at the OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Kenya Graxton, Superior Ensemble at the OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest. And our last band member is Anthony Mitchum, OMEA District 14 Honors Band, Tri-State Band Symposium, Wright State University Honors Band, Superior Solo and Excellent Ensemble at the OMEA Solo and Ensemble Contest.
Awesome. Give it up for Northwest High School. This time we'll have Pleasant Run Middle come up.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started for Pleasant Run Middle School. I have the benefit to acknowledge all of our band members who have competed in various competitions throughout this school year. Mr. Greenwood could not be here tonight, but he did send all of his award recipients. And I know that there were several that mentioned today they were not able to attend, but I would still like to recognize each and every one of these band members who participated in the various different performances throughout the school year so far. So for the fall October performance, band soloist Mario Lux Sheza, Jashika Karhara, and these were all soloist performances, by the way, and Christian Monroe. Our next are for performances at the MSBA Finals. Participant with the highest score in Northwest history goes to Mario Lux Sheza. Another MSBA Finals participant is Amaje Rose Hill. For the Wright State University Honor Band, first trumpet goes to Owen Kennedy. Best overall tenor sax goes to Braylon Howard. Honor Band first horn goes to Mario Lux Sheza. And Honor Band alternate goes to Christian Monroe. Next, we have our highest participant in the Northwest School Pep Band as an 8th grader. That goes to Amaje Rose Hill. And then finally, we have our outstanding performers for the honorary band competition ensemble that they performed at. And we have Jackson Hunter, Jashka Kahar, Lily Kohler, Nick Livengood, Amaje Rose Hill, Morgan Chapman, and Faith Tangang. Thank you guys very much.
First of all, my name is Dan Hord. I'm the very proud athletic director at Pleasant Run Middle School under the guidance of Allison. She's the best. I want to start off by saying thank you very much to the board and to everybody that's here, because this is a very special night for our athletes. If you're an athlete in the Northwest School District, to excel in sports as well as academics, that's a big thing, especially in today's times. So I'd like to start off, I have an award of excellence for boys basketball for outstanding accomplishments with a 4.0, and he was an 8th grade starting basketball player, Jaden Rogers. On the girls' side, here's another outstanding athlete. She's the best. In school, she's always got a smile, never talks, but has a great big smile. This is Irene Alfredo for girls basketball, high honors, 4.0. Now I want to get into wrestling, a sport that's very dear to my heart. I've been doing this for 30 some odd years, and this year I would like everybody to recognize the outstanding accomplishments that my two sister middle schools, White Oak and Coleraine, did this year, as well as Pleasant Run Middle School. And that's something to be said, because wrestling is a tough sport. It's very tough. And from the Coleraine side to the Northwest side, we all achieved great things this year. And I think that's very special to have 3 schools and we can say we did such a good job. As we all know in the district, the Southwest Ohio Conference is going to be
out of commission this next year by no fault of ours. But, so these young athletes that I'm going to mention tonight that did very well in our district tournament will be the last young men to ever receive an award. So I think it's very special to note that these kids stepped up. We had no idea what our team would look like, and I tell them every year, you know, win one, lose one, takes 3 losses to win one, and you just self-feed into that. But the one is that the one at the end of the year, and that's when you go to the district championships. So I want to read the names, and please take heed of what the accomplishments we did this year for the Southwest Ohio Conference. I've got Braylon Howard, second place in the 80-pound. Jordan Samuelson, third place, 104 pounds. Dexter, you'll like her because she'll be back next year. Isaac Lopez de la Cruz, third place, 110. Dallas Mooney, fourth place, 116 pounds. Prince Gilbert, third place, 122 pounds. Bentley Failer, fourth place, 128 pounds. Isaiah Freeland, second place, 134 pounds. Mario Wisdom, second place, 142. Flynn Chapin, third place, 150. Hunter Wyatt, third place, 160. Chris Johnson, third place, 172 pounds. And our last one of the year, McSway Abrams, third place, 205. Keep it in mind that these young men and women on this team that I helped coach and very proud of, they made a statement leaving the league when we were there, because every one of these kids' names that I just said to you and mentioned stood on that podium for the final Southwest Ohio Conference Wrestling Tournament to ever be held. And they were on that podium representing Northwest. So I can't say enough. And like I said, Coleraine, White Oak, and Pleasant Run Middle School, the Northwest School District should be very proud of their wrestling programs at the middle school level. Thank you.
All right, White Oak Middle School, come on down.
All right, I'm David Roy, the athletic director over at White Oak Middle School, and we just have a couple of names that we want to recognize today. So first and foremost, I want to say that we worked really hard to get girls into our basketball program this year, as that is something that the conference is struggling with, and we are really proud to say that we had a record number of girls come out, participate on the team, and really give it our all. So I do not see them here today, but we wanted to recognize our MVPs for our 2 teams. For 8th grade, we have Ariana Lynch. And for 7th grade, Ariana McClendon, who are both outstanding players. It's unfortunate they're not able to join us here today because they are outstanding, and I cannot wait to see what they do as they go forward. With the influx of girls that we had this season, we had some individuals who really stood out, who really put in the time, the effort, the energy to grow as players in their own abilities, as well as to develop as players as a team. And we've really come a long way thanks to their contributions. So in 7th grade, our most improved player is Claire Detzel. And for 8th grade, our most improved player who really stepped up and did an amazing job this season, we have Aubrey Pence. I don't know if our wrestling coaches wanted to step down and speak, or I can do it. You guys know more about wrestling than I do.
little shorter than you, David. First, we've got Liam Oswald. He is an 8th grader who got 3rd place at the GMC wrestling tournament in the 142-pound weight class. Liam was a hard worker every day at practice, somebody who I could always count on to be doing what they needed to be doing and help us coaches out, kind of like another coach on the mat for us. We really appreciate that and wish him the best of luck. And Landon Schlemmer, he was the 80-pound champion of the GMC wrestling tournament. He's also a 2-time champion in that weight class. He is also an OAC state qualifier this year for wrestling. He is a very hard worker as well. I'm very proud of his growth this year, not only as a wrestler, but as a person, and I tell him that all the time. From where he was in November to where he is now is something that I'm very proud of, and I just hope that he realizes that and continues to grow as well.
That's what we have for White Oak today. Our group is small, but we are mighty. Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
All right, next up, we have another presentation. This is from Northwest High School, and this one is the Northwest High School Book Club. So Dr. Shrewsbury, principal of the high school, will introduce the club.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you for still being here. Before this group comes up, as an administrator, as a school employee, you're proud of any student or staff that is going above and beyond to put in hours to better the community, especially when it's not just your own community. So our book club, they'll share a lot of things about what they've done, but I'm very proud of what they do to better our community as a whole. So I'm going to introduce Ms. Miller and Ms. Summers as the book club advisors and the rest of the students as well.
Hello, I'm Zuri Aguilar, and I'm a junior here at Northwest. And I've been in book club for about 3 years, so since my freshman year.
Hello, my name is Helen Luke-Sheka. I'm a sophomore, and I've been in book club since my freshman year.
The slide.
So what Helen and I want to talk about is our experience for when we went to Pleasant Run Elementary, and we wanted to go get kids excited about reading. And I remember going, and Helen and I read in Spanish to some of the ESL kids, and I was really excited to do that because I saw the kids open up, and the teacher told us that these kids have never opened up like this before, and they really appreciated it because they didn't have someone there who spoke Spanish fluently. And we were
we're just that vessel, and it was a really great experience for me.
We wanted to go to PRE, like Zuri said, was to not just only get kids to read, but to actually love literature the way we do. We hopefully want them to join book club in the future so our community can grow, and like Zuri said, be someone there for the kids who couldn't speak English, be someone they can communicate with, and I was glad to be one of the people to help and talk with them and see them get excited with people reading.
Hi, I'm Emma Alexander, and I'm a junior.
I'm Kenya Braxton, and I'm a sophomore.
So what we're talking about is the Houston Early Learning Center. We went to that in December of last year, and we wanted to bring what we had brought to the elementary kids last year into the preschool, and we had a lot of fun there. We did all sorts of different things with them and went to all sorts of different classes and read to them. It was just really exciting to read to kids and just see them be so excited to learn new things and see us read to them. And we just want to make them excited to read and feel good and going to a different experience with reading.
Reading to the kids at the Houston Early Learning Center was really fun for me because it brought feelings of nostalgia when I was around their age and starting to learn books and reading. And it was really nice to share like my own childhood books to them and be able to just bond with the kids there. It was like really fun for me.
Can you go one more slide, please? Hi, I'm Madison Holt. I'm a junior. I've been in book club since I started high school.
Hi, I'm Jalea Allen, and I'm a junior. I've been in book club since I was a freshman as well.
And just earlier in February, we did an African American read-in. We wanted to do it for Black History Month, and it was pretty much just a way for us to, we did it during conference night, and we had kids come, and we read them stories, and we made little hand puppets, because that was from one of the books that we read. And it was a really fun experience. I had a lot of fun making the puppets. It was fun, like, reading and, like, just kind of doing that type of thing.
I really enjoyed doing our library read-in, mostly because I got to read books that I've never personally read before, and because it was really nice to share something that would kind of gauge kids' imaginations, especially in such an important month. My favorite thing about book club is all the trips that we get to do, because we get to, have little kids who've, never really been around high schoolers or people so much older than them, get to do fun stuff with them. And one of my favorite memories is when they all came and hugged us at the end of one of our trips. It was really cute, and I loved it so much.
Can you go one more slide? And then this last slide, this is all of us at Pleasant Run Elementary School when we went last year. And these are some of the quotes from kids. They were talking about how they were so excited that we came. They wanted to join book club when they were older. And I think it was a fun experience for us as well as them, because we had never done anything like this and they hadn't experienced it either. So it was really fun. And we really want the opportunity to be able to do this more. We want to be able to go back to PRE, go back to Houston, as well as going to Taylor and going to even the middle school, so that they can not only love reading then, but keep loving reading as they go on, because I know it can be harder to love it in middle school. And that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you, ladies, so much. That was a wonderful presentation, and really appreciate you sharing your time and your talent with the younger students, and to share your love of reading to help them develop a love of reading. And what a great way to pay it forward. And really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Is any of you looking to be a teacher now that you've worked with students?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, teaching is probably a close second of mine.
Yeah.
I love that type of stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I'm sure the kids enjoyed reading with you and look up to you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to Student Achievement Liaison Report. Nicole?
Yep, so outside of all the awesome things that we've already celebrated this evening, we have Struble Elementary for first grade. Struble Elementary Grade 1 students are out of this world. Students and teachers recently concluded the CKLA astronomy unit by making models of constellations and the solar system. Students also worked to write paragraphs describing what they would do if they were astronauts. And next at Corrine Elementary, our Corrine Elementary kindergartners and their teachers hosted a royal tea party to celebrate the end of their CKLA Kings and Queens Knowledge Unit. In addition to a royal tea party, the students enjoyed learning the waltz. The students learned so much throughout this unit, enjoyed celebrating their learning throughout this culminating activity. The teachers also enjoyed this unit and wanted to make the royal tea party, hopefully will be an annual event here. At Montfort Heights, the kindergarten students recently completed the Kings and Queens Knowledge Unit in CKLA. In addition to all the learning that occurred, they held a royal parade and attended a royal ball where they learned a dance and had a royal snack. The kindergarten students brought smiles to students and staff across the whole school. Very cute. And at Pleasant Run Elementary School, they would like to congratulate the following students for their hard work in reading, which has paid off as they improved their reading skills. So congratulations to these students as they've focused on reading this past quarter. And over at athletics, Northwest High School would like to recognize the following student athletes. We have Haley Goodman, finished second in the weekly voting for Girls Bowler of the Week. Tanner Felix qualified for districts in wrestling, and Mark Brogdon qualified for districts in wrestling. And Northwest High School would also like to recognize the 6 girls who qualified for wrestling. So we just heard their names earlier, and they all were up here. So congratulations again to them on an awesome season this year. And Pleasant Run Elementary School is thrilled to have their first Nights on the Run Club with Mrs. Cope. This program was associated with the Flying Pig, and our first roster ever includes 50 students. So awesome to have all of these students, and their names are here on the slide. And our fine arts section over at Corrine Middle School, we would like to congratulate the following students whose artwork has been selected to be displayed at the Corrine Township Administrative Building. So we have a few from each grade here that will be recognized in their artwork displayed this month. And in citizenship, Houston Early Learning Center would like to celebrate their pandas who filled out their power cards by demonstrating how to be kind and safe at school. And Northwest High School would like to recognize 5 students who received several community shout-outs for coaching and supporting St. Bart's Elementary and Middle School track teams. So these 5 students have given up their time to help improve other students at the elementary and middle school. And we'd like to congratulate and thank them for that. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Jim, Butler Tech updates.
Yeah, just a reminder for everybody that the next board meeting is going to be up at the Bioscience Building, which is on Route 63 right in front of Monroe High School. Or I'm sorry, it's the red building right off of I-75. It's Cincinnati Dayton. If you guys want to get a tour of the place, come like a half an hour early or whatever, and we'll make sure that somebody's there to give everybody a tour that wants
Thank you. That's great.
Yep, other than that, that's it.
All right, and Mark, legislative update?
Just a couple of things I wanted to bring to people's attention. House Bill 88, they're working on, would require public schools to incorporate instruction on fentanyl awareness and abuse prevention from K to 12 and require boards of education to designate 1 week of the school year as Fentanyl Poison Awareness Week. Fentanyl is still an ongoing problem, and the education is now coming down to the school districts. House Bill 117 that they're working on would require Pledge of Allegiance in schools every day. And then there's a couple Senate bills. Senate Bill 93 declares that the General Assembly's intent to establish a new school financing system that provides statewide per pupil funding payment to public and chartered non-public schools based on a single statewide property tax and increased state sales tax. Amy, have you heard anything about that? Any details around that?
Not details, just that they're proposing a new school funding formula.
Okay, thanks. Senate Bill 107 would require state and school district board of education members to appear on the ballot with a party designation, which this position has always been nonpartisan for as long as I know it has been. So I find that a little interesting. And then Senate Bill 113 would prohibit diversity, equity, and inclusion in our public schools. So these are some of the things that they're kicking around and talking about now.
Thank you. Any reports from
Yeah, for employee organizations, we have one person tonight, Dr. Kayla Holloway, who is Dean of Students at Struble Elementary, would like to address the board about open enrollment from a staff perspective.
Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Kayla Holloway on behalf of Struble Elementary. I'm speaking in opposition of open enrollment, mainly from the point of thinking of our current families that are enrolled in our building alone. I feel like we are not meeting all of their needs. I'm thinking of the resources. Our Best Point wait list to continue mental health services is a mile long, and we don't have enough to support the current families we have. And my fear is we won't have what we need to continue to support anyone, looking ahead. We want students sound academically. We want them here every day and on time, but we also have to look at their mental health aspect as well as our growing ELL population. While we have people in our building supporting those ELL students, I'm also thinking outside the box. How are we supporting those families? How are we getting them into our buildings and bridging that gap of getting them to belong to our PTA, getting them in for our curriculum nights? And that goes just for our other families in our building alone. We're having our PTA, a lot of our families are leaving because they're moving on to like the middle schools, and their students will no longer be with us. So we need people in our PTA. We need our community members coming in to engage in our buildings, see what's going on. And outside of just the needs of our families and our students and needing those resources that we are desperately in need of to support how we grow them academically and mentally, I'm also looking at our current class sizes. When a teacher isn't here and a sub isn't available, we split. And some of our classrooms are up to 28 students, even currently without splitting. How are we supporting our students, and how are we providing the best that we can with what limited resources I feel from my end at Struble that we are not providing to our current families? Being someone who also lives in the district, an employee of the district, a graduate of Northwest High School, I feel like we need to bridge that gap and make sure that everyone is being taken care of. And looking at our future families that are coming in, how are we supporting them? How are we bringing them in? How are we getting them to vote yes to our levies? We need to be able to show who we have, our current support, what resources that we can help them, whether that's aid of any kind, assistance with clothing or with food, or those, like I mentioned, the mental health resources that we need. I'm just wanting to make sure that our current families are taken care of, our future families are taken care of, and that we are bridging that gap to get all of our community in. Because I feel as a community member, as a staff member, our families that show up, they show up, but we need to reach those that might have that English language barrier where they don't understand what we're doing. How are we supporting them to get them in, to know that they are supported, to know they have access to various materials? I just want to make sure that we are taking care of our current families, making sure we're taking care of our teachers in terms of class sizes. And if we're going to open our doors, I really hope there is a plan to help with that disciplinary aspect as well, because I'm the only dean in a building of 800 people, and I need to make sure that it's going to be supported. So, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla.
All right, move on to community comments. Good evening, Northwest Board of Education welcomes the opportunity to listen to Northwest Local School District residents' comments, suggestions, and concerns on educational issues. Policy 10169, which addresses public participation at board meetings, gives each submission 3 minutes to address agenda items of any topic during community comments. However, no more than 15 minutes will be devoted to public participation unless the board votes unanimously to continue discussion. The policy also states that no response to this submission will occur from the board or district during this time. At this time, I have no community comment cards, so we'll move forward with our next item.
So for the consent items tonight, we'll start with personnel.
We seek approval for the following: 6 resignations, 2 retirements, 1 change in status, various supplemental items and leaves of absence, science of reading stipends, military recruitment award, and the resolution of job abandonment.
From business, we also have donations of library books from Jennifer Hartley to PRE, Charlotte Susong to PRE, Amy Weissman to PRE, and library books from Evelyn Gibfried to Corrine High School, as well as a monetary donation to Corrine Middle School from TQL for cosmetic updates to their cafeteria. And under vendor contracts, we have special ed contracts, CCP, MOU with Sinclair, internet services providers, and Title I services. And with that, the superintendent recommends the board approve the consent items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And that passes without opposition.
Good evening. For the fiscal consent items, I have the minutes from the February 24th meeting to dispense with reading of and approve. We also have the financial report for the month of January. Our all funds balance was $92.4 million. Our general fund unreserved balance was $20 million. This still remains below our cash balance policy as we are still waiting for the first half tax settlement to come in. Our revenues year-to-date are $62 million at 56% and on target with our forecast. Our expenditures are at $60 million, we're at 54% for the year and slightly below target, so we're doing well on that. Our investment weighted average return is 4.03%. And the list of monthly bills, we had our routine monthly bills as well as bills over $10,000, which included our workers' comp excess costs, our new SIS software implementation, a contract for UC collaboration, our property liability and fleet consultant, as well as some auxiliary and grant fund payments. We also have received a grant, so we'd like to accept, approve, and appropriate a $4,000 grant for a job skills coach trainer for our students, as well as a fund-to-fund transfer. This is the annual half-mil transfer from our permanent improvement fund to our OFCC maintenance fund. What we did as a district was we agreed not to go out to our community to ask for an additional half-mil levy, but to actually transfer the monies from our permanent improvement levy that we already received over into this required 23-year maintenance fund for our new Corrine Elementary. So with that, I ask the board to approve the fiscal consent items as listed.
Motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And that passes without opposition.
Thank you.
So under approval of other items, there is a discussion item for open enrollment. We have our legal counsel from the board here tonight to summarize any questions that the board has, answer any questions prior to the next item, which is the vote on the open enrollment policy. And so Ms. Wortman will come down and answer any questions that the board has or provide any information prior to the vote.
How are you?
Good evening.
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good to see you. Any questions?
Aaron, just so the public knows, we're not locked into this for a lifetime. This is, we can reevaluate the policy.
Correct.
And change the policy after 1 year if it doesn't work out.
Correct. You're allowed to set your open enrollment policy as you would wish to in the future.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but just want to reiterate the many discussions that we've had on this, that numbers will be managed by grade and by school. So we were ensured that overcrowding would not be a concern, that the services that students require would be looked at, and that we will not overcrowd those services if we don't have a service that a child would need, that they would not, be able to be permitted to enroll, as well as the policy being looked at every year with the ability to revise it. So just some of the things that maybe haven't been put out there enough.
Aaron, there's some kind of discrepancies. We hear some people say, well, this district does this district does that. There's obviously a set of rules that all districts in Ohio need to follow.
Correct.
Can you expand upon that further?
So the Ohio Revised Code sets all of the policies and procedures, right, that you're required to adopt. And oftentimes in the Ohio Administrative Code, it allows you pieces that say you're allowed to operate in these parameters. Especially with open enrollment, there are aspects where the statute says you can do certain things in your policy, but because you're a creature of statute, you can only do those things. It doesn't give you more flexibility than not. Now, does every district in the state of Ohio follow said thing to the T? No, they don't, and I know they don't. But it does mean that it's not in alignment with statute, and if someone were to challenge it, I can't promise people that they would win that argument because you're not acting in alignment with statute. And so that's always a battle that some districts have chosen to look for, and that's fine, but I can't. I am of the belief, my personal opinion, and my legal advice is always, statute says, here are your guardrails, we operate within those guardrails.
So essentially, there's no cherry picking which students you want. It's you. If you have the policy, you take whoever comes.
Correct,
unless
whoever
they have that
fits those
discipline issue.
parameters, correct.
Okay.
Unless they have something like you, if a student, for instance, needs a certain service on their IEP and you don't provide that, or you are at capacity for what you already provide, you don't have to accept them.
Would you happen to have the meetings, the questions from the prior meeting, just to review those?
Sure, I've looked at them all.
Yes, if you could just
Yeah.
review those for us. Thank you.
Am I looking at the one with like the 5 or the 6 questions, or is there a different?
Yeah, it was the ones I sent you.
Yeah. Do you want me to read them, or how do you want me to go over them?
These are the same questions that were submitted at the last meeting. I just forwarded those to Erin, so she had the same questions that were submitted last meeting, so she knew where the conversation was.
Yeah, if you could just read the question and then give us your response to that
Sure.
question.
So the first question was, will students and families meet with, I'm assuming it's the district and the building principal, so administration and the building principal. In terms of the policy and in terms of statute, there's no legal guardrails around that. But in terms of in an application process, that's not going to happen based on the way the open enrollment policy is. Now, once they are accepted, I would imagine that they would have meetings with your administration for enrollment, class choices, or familiarity with the building if they would want.
So you cannot interview the student and family before choosing them?
Correct. So, and I say when we're going through the things that can't happen, it's because it's listed in statute for the things that you can consider. And so if statute says you can, that means anything else you can't. That's why. Okay. So second question was, when offered, is there a specific timeline to accept the spot? That's not within statute. So your district policy, I mean, it doesn't say you have to accept now, but typically district policies have a deadline for which you extend open enrollment until, and then it's for that following school year. That's a pretty typical process. If you did a semester by semester, that gets a little messier.
And if you have a deadline in your process, it becomes easier to say, listen, you're after the deadline, we're not extending any more applications.
So you can have that date in your deadline, in your process?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, ready for the next one? Just making sure, are there any other follow-up?
Aaron, how many school districts does your group represent?
About 160 plus?
And then with your, that's a lot of
It's a lot.
experience.
Yeah.
Can you share any real pitfalls that people have done open enrollment and then the decision came back to bite them and it was just a nightmare? Because I'm not so much worried about the things that we think we can control.
Yeah.
It's the things that get us from behind and we're not aware of.
So the things that more come to the lawyers are always the legal battles, right? Why did you pick and choose? So some districts have had the battle over, hey, I chose to make my parameter, my criteria about things that aren't in statute. And sometimes people say, okay, I'm going to have that battle. So we have that. I've had more of the liability about denial of application processes for students with disabilities, for do you have that service or not have that service. Also, if you have a deadline in place, so let's say you have a May 1st deadline for applying for open enrollment for the following school year. If you don't follow that deadline, then it's worthless. I mean, those are more the legality pitfalls, the anecdotal of in the classrooms and in the buildings. People don't come and tell me those pieces. It's more, we have a lawsuit or a threatened lawsuit. That tends to be where people call us.
I think it's important to know that we can set the number around what our buildings can hold, and we also will not set that based on if, any expectation of parochial or families moving in. So the amount of kids that we would even be able to accept at any said building will keep us from getting into a situation that would overcrowd. I looked at numerous Ohio school districts that have open enrollment policies, and many of them have date deadlines of acceptance along with criteria that they use similar to what you prepared for us. Many other policies look the same, and many of the staff that I reached out to that work at other buildings have said that they have not seen overcrowding or issues, that it's the policy can be there to protect you as well and help you with students that may be lying about their address or coming in other ways to your district. So I think that would be, those are just a few of the things that I've looked at. Just within our two schools, 3 of the 4 SWAC schools, knowing that that is going away, but the SWAC schools have an open enrollment policy, and 7 of the 10 GMC schools do have it. And that I just looked at those because I know those districts are some neighboring and some in the areas, not to look at it by high school, but by just districts in general. So.
And Amy, can you comment on the funding again for students that we would accept in open enrollment? How much we're funded versus how much it will cost us?
So we're funded at around 25% of the per pupil this year. So it's around $2,400 per student. A new student coming in would get us about $19 for every other student that we currently have, plus the additional amount per student. As we talked in the November forecast, we're headed to the guarantee. So when we're on the guarantee, additional money coming in per student just reduces the amount of the guarantee, but the total net effect is the same, no new dollars. As far as the amount it would cost us, it would depend on if we added services over and above what we were already having for general operations.
It just looks to me like overall in the state of Ohio, open enrollment peaked in like 2021, and since then it has declined. And according to the Fordham Institute, that's because it's no longer a very financially viable system based on what our state school funding is. So they were like 83,000 something in 2021, and it's down to 77,000 something in 2024. So I think some schools have just stopped doing that because of the financial piece. My concern with adopting this for the district is I feel like most of the driving force behind this is for high school athletics. And high school athletics are wonderful, any extracurricular activity, I think, is wonderful. It keeps a kid coming to school, keeps them engaged. They get something to find that they excel at, I think is a wonderful thing. But we have 8 schools in the district. And so I don't feel like the football team at one school should take precedence over all the other schools. And I think if there's a student who wants to play football at Colerain High School, it's a mobile society. There's apartments, there's houses, there's condos. Move and rent. Do whatever you need to do if it's that important to you and your family to be here. But I don't feel like we don't know what the funding is going to be from the state. I don't think we're in a good position to choose to do open enrollment. I think we are $1 short a day late on that. I think the schools that were doing this years ago were doing it with good financial incentive, but we don't have that. Plus, we, as one of the comment came, that we have more non-English speaking students. We don't know what more our bills are going to be and how many more students that are going to be on IEPs, and we need to take care of those students in our community first. And I think that's the most important thing. And I just, in good conscience, don't feel like this is good for the entire district. I hope Colerain Athletics does beautifully. I hope they do wonderfully. I hope the new football coach does a great job. But, you know, he hasn't even had the chance yet to play a game with his team, and we're already trying to add another variable in by trying to get athletes from other areas. And I just don't feel like this is really a good plan for the entire district.
I kind of have a different attitude on that. 20 years ago, I would have said yes. I did as a side job highlight videos for high school kids, and I was amazed how many kids I did for Colerain who lived in Westchester or other communities and had apartments or lived with their aunt or uncle or somebody. Colerain has lost 26 straight games, I believe. That's not something that, as a former athlete, I'd be like, I want to transfer in there. I don't think that might have been a factor years ago. I just don't think now somebody would want to transfer into, I mean, Colerain, I hope, turns it around. There's no bigger fan. I work the scoreboard at the games, and I want to see them win, but this isn't the state championship Colerain from 20 years ago. And I would vote no if it wasn't for the fact that we can try for 1 year. And if it doesn't work out, then next year we vote no and we cancel it. But I think that the fact that 7 of the 10 GMC schools take us out, that's 7 to 9. So there's something that is to be said, at least to try it. And we might regret it, but on the other hand, it might be something that's good. And I'm willing to give it a 1-year trial.
My reservation with that is if we get a sophomore standout football player and he's from out of the district, where is it that we're not going to be pressured that we need to keep this student because he's doing wonderful things, and then we have to do open enrollment again for another year, and then somebody else comes and they're really good, and then we're forced to do it another year? Because I truly believe that's what the driving force is athletics. So how do we say, okay, well, that student was really good for the football team, but this isn't working well overall for the district? We're not going to do open enrollment anymore, and then that student can no longer come back. Where do we get rid of that pressure?
It's a valid point. Absolute but valid point, Nancy. But, you know, if the kid really wants to play here like it used to be, then there's ways of finding housing within the district.
Exactly, that's what I said. So technically, we don't need open enrollment, because if you're really so motivated that you want to play on a particular high school's team or middle school's team, it's a mobile society. You can move. I mean, that's evidenced by the fact that we have non-English speaking students here in the school. It's a mobile world. People can move to wherever they want and do what they want.
Mm-hmm. Nicole, were you going to say something? I guess one of the concerns that I have is, I believe, like listening to Ms. Holloway speak, like we have subject matter experts in the buildings. Us sitting up here, we don't really know what the climate is inside the buildings. It's what we're told. And I got quite a bit of contact today about people oppositional to that. And I always like to see buy-in. across the board because we're all in this thing together. And so that gives me some reservation. I'm kind of not against open enrollment, but there's also another side of it that if the people who are getting beat up in the schools every day, and I don't mean that literally, but.
Some literally.
Well, some literally. This is just another variable that is a potential risk down the road. I don't know if we want to take that calibrated risk.
I would counter that with, if we told all of the staff that last meeting we were voting to spend $3,500 on a book that we could put together ourselves, that we probably would get feedback too on that, just personally. I think this comes up because, you know, it's been put out there for people for discussion, and I absolutely appreciate the discussion, but I think everybody, you know, what's put out there for people to look at, similar to the $3,500 that we spent that we don't have on a board book. Everybody has opposition and pros and cons to everything that we vote on.
Well, I feel like the mistake here is we really didn't do community engagement on this issue. I had mentioned trying to do a survey, and people weren't fond of a survey, which I understand. But then maybe if we really wanted to see what the community thought, maybe we should have had schoolhouse talks, or we should have had, you know, meet with the board member and 2 board members be some in the morning, some in the evening to discuss this with the community. But we really didn't do that. We didn't discuss it with the staffing here at the schools. We didn't discuss it with the people who live in the community. We didn't discuss it with the parents who already have kids in the school. We just neglected all that and just decided, well, we're gonna vote on this. And I think that's very important because we don't want to lose the kids that are already here. And what if they are very much opposed to open enrollment? I know you have to do what you think is best for the district, and I don't believe open enrollment is the best for the district, but I think it's also important to hear what people's concerns are, and I think we just jumped right over that step, didn't even put it out there. Okay, is there any more discussion?
Yeah, I got it. Darryl, I just wanted to talk to you. What is your recommendation? What do you think about the open enrollment?
So I think at this point, I know there's been a lot of conversation around how we can control parameters. And Aaron has been very clear on what those parameters are and how we can say no. We can look at our space. The one thing that I will tell you is a variable that is different for our district than some of the other districts that might have open enrollment is our mobility rate is over around 15%. So we have a lot of families moving in and out. So although we can cap open enrollment when students apply, and we can look at our limitation and our space at that point, once we start the school year, an open enrolled student is in for the entire school year, and we can't remove them for any reason. And we enroll students on a daily basis up through May. And so it's a revolving door, and so although we can set those parameters, those class sizes fluctuate on a daily basis from the first day of school to the last day of school. And so there will be, and Dr. Holloway mentioned this, some variability with those class sizes as we go through the year that are out of our control because we can't predict the ongoing enrollment cycle. So that is one of the risks that we would need to consider with our open enrollment policy, with being able to look at those class sizes. But once the school year starts, it rolls.
So you look at trends and set numbers lower than that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the way we staff right now is we look at our class sizes and we staff based on that. So even with open enrollment and looking at our average class sizes, if we look at making open enrollment caps lower than that class size, we can move to an open enrollment policy, but I'm not sure that we're going to have anyone admitted because we staff at such a level that our classes don't start the year with a lot of open space.
Any other questions for Aaron? Thank
Thanks,
you,
Aaron.
Aaron, for coming.
Thanks,
Appreciate
anytime.
that.
Thank you.
All right, and any other discussion? All right, can we get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and that passes 4-1.
So we will work on, from this point, we'll work on getting all of our dates, deadlines, and processes in place. So we will get those ready and we will get those published so we can start that process. Next, we have a preschool language arts textbook adoption. This is for next school year. This is for our preschool. This is aligned to the science of reading. One of the reasons that this is coming as info action is we've been waiting. The state has a set list of curriculums that can be used for reading, and preschool was one of the places we were waiting on that state to make the recommendation on what could be used. This came through, and on a timing issue, we're asking for info action tonight so that we can actually move forward with purchasing and getting this set up for next year. So superintendent recommends the board approve the preschool ELA resource as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? That was out in the hallway tonight to look at, and it looks like a very, very nice program. And Lori took the time to explain it to me, and it was very interesting and I think really good for the kids. All right, and that passes without opposition.
All right, next, we have several items for information. The first set are textbook resources, so they are here for information. Many of them were out in the lobby for people to review this afternoon before the board meeting. We have AP Statistics and AP US History textbook, so that will come next time for approval. We also have a middle school science resource adoption, and then we also have an elementary math textbook adoption. It says phase 2 on there because we've already done the selection process for the elementary math curriculum. We purchased the first set for the second through fifth. This is for K1. So it's just moving forward with the rest of the adoption for our elementary math. And then last on there for information is an update. It's a calendar for the 26-27 school year. We have tried to be proactive in making sure that our calendars are out there in advance so that families and staff have that clearly in advance for scheduling vacations and other things. So that will be on for approval at the next meeting as well.
On that, can I ask a question about we're still doing the 2-hour delays? How many more years will we do that before it comes back up for?
So that is, the 2-hour late starts are negotiated in the teacher's contract. Their current contract doesn't expire until the 25-26 school year, so it's a 3-year contract.
Okay. So that'll come back up then the next
year.
Okay, thanks.
And then for updates tonight, if there are no other questions about the textbooks that are up there, just a couple of things to share. Kind of continue on with the celebrations from the book club and the music and athletic events. We were actually contacted by the science department from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and they were recognizing the outstanding science achievement in grades 5 and 8. They noticed that we had significant achievements in grades 5 and 8 statewide. And statewide, they reached out to us to actually talk about what we're doing with science education to get the results that we saw, because statewide, they were not seeing what we have here in Northwest. So we were able to sit with them, talk through some of the things. The things that were attributed to the success were obviously having dedicated science instruction. That time is important. The innovative curriculum resources that our teachers are using, a focus on conceptual understanding, not just memorizing a lot of facts, but actually conceptually understanding how and why things work. The professional collaboration that our teachers have, not just within a building, but across the entire district, where they are really looking at best practice and using data to drive instructional strategies, and our commitment to individual student growth and goal setting. So just want to call out the incredible work that is happening and the science departments because we are being recognized not just locally, but at the state level for things that they might be able to take and use in other districts across the state to replicate what we're seeing here in Northwest. In addition to that, want to give a huge shout out to our food service department. We did have an on-site review from the USDA. Our USDA came in to review the entire food service operation, but it was an on-site review, so they actually went to 2 of our schools. They went to Pleasant Run Middle School and Northwest High School and literally stood in the kitchen and watched our staff work for breakfast and for lunch, and we got some incredibly positive feedback from the USDA consultant about the professionalism of our staff, the expertise of our staff, the operations of our staff. They obviously give you a lot of technical assistance and support, but the overall positive feedback about our food service operation was incredible. So I want to give shout out to not just the entire food service operation, but the 2 sites they went to, because I know that was a lot of stress on those 2 cafeterias, and they were top notch. So I want to congratulate them as well. Jim already mentioned that our next board meeting on March 24th is going to be at a Butler Tech Center. It's going to be at the Bioscience Center. The board has made a commitment to go to one of our Butler Tech partner sites once a year. So this is not anything out of the ordinary of what we normally do. It's part of our normal operation, and it's a great time to actually see some of the sites that our students have access to that we don't see on a regular basis. And then lastly, Mark, you brought this up a little while ago, but Amy and I wanted to just give an update on the state budget process. Obviously, we are every 2 years we go through this biennium budget process, and it is a tennis match for a while where we're watching the ball jump back and forth across the net. Currently, the governor has submitted his proposal for the budget. That process then goes to the House. The House has committee hearings, and they will come out with their version of a substitution bill that says, we heard this from the governor, we're going to substitute it with this, and then it'll go to the Senate, where they will take the tennis ball and they will bounce it around for a while, and they'll come back with what they think the state budget bill should be for the next 2 years. And then it'll go to conference committee, and then there will be a state budget. This process starts in February and doesn't end until June. So currently, as introduced, the governor's budget does continue the fair school funding formula phase-in. However, with that, he is not updating the base cost inputs. So it's basically taking a formula and updating one side of the formula, but not the other. And by doing that, it makes our district look wealthier. And so, as Amy mentioned, that we currently are getting about 25% state share for the education of students. So the state formula says this is how much it costs. They look at the local capacity and say this is how much the local capacity should be and how much the community should be paying. And then whether the community is paying that or not, they only pay what they think they should. This formula takes us from where we currently are and reduces the state share even farther. In 2015, the state was providing 40% of the cost to educate a child in Northwest. This formula will move that down to 10%, which will make us in alignment with Indian Hill and Sycamore with the amount of state funding that we get per student. So we obviously are concerned about the way that is coming through. We are really proud of the fact that as a district, we're not only being recognized statewide for some of the things we're doing in science, but when they look at fiscal sustainability and fiscal responsibility, they compare other districts around us to us. The 3% partnership the board has committed to multiple times, saying that we will not increase growth as an institution for more than 3% per year. And when you look at the last 14 years, we've only grown 1.5% per year for annual growth, is an amazing commitment to fiscal responsibility. We are consistently one of the lowest per pupil expenditures in Hamilton County. and still getting some really good results. We are currently building a new Colerain Elementary, and there is no bond that the community has had to pass to do that. It is completely funded through the district and the state. And so we have continued to be fiscally responsible, stretching a 3-year levy to 8 years. However, the state budget does create a lot of challenges for us. And so right now, the House is taking their tennis ball match and they're doing a lot of volleying back and forth right now with each other. And they're about to get their tennis ball over into the Senate side of the court. This is an ideal time for us to engage with legislators because we're going to have influence over the final substitution bill from the House side as it goes into the Senate, and so our Senate friends can hear the same cacophony of voices and unity of voice from our district. So later this week, we're going to be sending things out to our staff and our community, educating them on where we are in the budget process, the things that are really important that we need to advocate for, so that legislators are not only hearing from Amy and myself, but hearing from our staff, our board, our community, so that all of those voices can hopefully move the needle on some of these issues so that we continue to be funded at a sustainable level moving forward. And again, this is a 2-year process, so we're going to do all this work now, and then 2 years from now, we're going to do it again. Amy, anything that you want to add?
No, it's just that while we continue to have conversations with our legislators, send the information, they also look to us as, well, you're just wanting more money instead. So it's going to be more powerful, I think, to hear from our staff and our community as to what our school district is, giving them examples of what our needs are and helping them understand who we are at Northwest.
So as I understand this, come June 30th, when they put that budget out there, I mean, we could get cut a couple $1 million, or $1 million, or not.
Correct.
So we need to be prepared if say we get cut $2 million, how are we going to do that? We're going to have to cut jobs. And I think the public and the teachers in the district needs to realize this is something that could happen very quickly. And I think the more that the public, the teachers, and everybody call these representatives and tell them, say, look, you're not taking care of us at all. All they're doing is cutting us. What'd you say 10 years ago? Their share was 40%, and now they only want to give us 10%? I mean, that's ridiculous.
10%
How can
is
you
the state
run a
minimum.
district, please?
10% is the state minimum.
Right. I mean, how can you run a district like that if you don't know, June 30th, that budget's coming out, and we're going to know July 1st how much money we get or lose.
And so that's one of the things that we're going to continue to ask our community to share. I mean, Dr. Holloway shared, there's a lot of needs at our buildings, and we're trying to allocate resources to the needs. And when the state continues to look at us that we are funding you like Indian Hill and Sycamore, the needs of our district are very different. And so we are going to require additional support, services, and resources, and that's something that we're going to continue to advocate for.
I shared that Southwest Harrison's treasurer went and spoke. How do you get invited or get to that level to do that and speak about these issues?
Well, they put it out and ask, and they take so many to go and speak in front of, but then we can also submit and we have written testimony.
Okay.
So we've put our voice out there also, as we continue to meet with them in person and one-on-one, in addition to not only the hearings.
Thank you.
So more to come on that, but there will be more information coming out later this week about how to get involved, advocate, and really kind of have our voice as a community heard.
Right, and then board member comments, Jim?
And who are representatives? Cindy Abrams at the House of Reps, and Bill Blessing is the number 2 senator at the state. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's who we need to talk to, because if we just sit back and do nothing, then we're just going to accept that they're going to cut us money. guarantee you, they're not giving us any more money. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how these guys operate. They're going to cut money out of our district. And the sooner that the public and the teachers and administrators and everybody realize that, the better it's going to be, because we're going to have to come up with a plan quickly if they cut us a bunch of money. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So I just, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it is what it is. And I've never seen them give us more money. It's always cutting us more money. So that's all I've got.
Mark?
Great.
Any comments?
I just wanted to thank all the student athletes that came today in the fine arts. These are my favorite meetings, to see the kids perform. I want to thank the coaches, definitely Dexter, who is, I think he's pretty passionate about girls wrestling. So I'm glad to see that worked out. To our staff who's concerned about this open enrollment, I will personally promise you that we will keep an eye on this, and if it fails, as a board, we will do something about that. If it does bring on less than outcomes that we didn't foresee. And starting to see the signs in the front yard for class of 2025, so we're coming toward the end of the year here, so hope everybody finishes strong.
Nicole?
Just exactly what you said, that this is not something, any vote that I take lightly. I did not vote for open enrollment for Corrigan football. Never was that any part of the research that I did. I think every district should have some sort of policy set around their enrollment. And so I promise, as Mark said, to keep an eye on that and to be diligent in supporting what our district's needs are. And just congratulate all of the athletes, the band members, book club that came, and especially those students. We had a few here that were supporting teams. So they were there setting up every day, cleaning up, and not, participating in the actual event, but I thought that was awesome that we recognized them as well. Thank you.
Chris?
Congratulations to all the students that we saw tonight. I do enjoy meeting them and shaking their hands and getting to know them a little bit. Question though, I have, where are we, Daryl, with the awning for Colerain High School? I think I've told you many times I walk my dog at the schools, and I've walked over there in the rain, and that thing just leaks like crazy. Sounds like the boosters are willing to pay for half. Strangely enough, what we spent on the booklet for board members would pay for the other half. I guess everybody has different priorities, but there's some donations that have come in. Could you give us an update on where we're at with that?
So just so everyone's aware, the boosters had reached out because the awning at Colerain High School at the front needed to be power wash painted and improved, and had provided some information about how much that would cost. As a district, we currently are dealing with multiple facility issues at Colerain High School, as well as facility issues district-wide. So we currently, until the end of the year, won't know if we have extra money that we could apply to that. There was some talk about them donating some of that money. If they have the full amount to donate, we would be able to move forward with that, but otherwise we would need to wait until the end of our fiscal year to see if we have the ability to have other money allocated to that based on just district-wide the needs we have from a facilities perspective. So it's not a no, it's just we have to wait and see at this point.
And how many bids did they get? And have we seen the bids? Because I saw the email with, it was what, $6,600 to do what they want to do. Well, where are the bids? Because as a school, don't we have to put this out to bid?
If we were going to move forward with a project, we would have to, in order to meet our procurement guidelines, we would have to have multiple bids.
Okay.
So we would have to go through a process in order to do that.
Do an RFP?
We wouldn't have to do anything that formal because of the amount of the project.
Gotcha.
But we'd
What's
still
the
have to-
amount for bids? Everything? Do you have to
What?
get a bid for everything over what?
75,000.
75,000 is the formal bid, but we do get quotes.
I'm
Multiple
sorry,
quote-
is it-
We get multiple quotes for things that are lower cost, but
So lower than
75,000 is a
75, you
formal
have to
bid.
get bid, or excuse me, quotes. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
lower than 75 is quotes. And then, do we have, I'm not just speaking on this project, I'm just asking, but do you have like a timeline that you try to get things done from when you get a quote to a job being done? Just-
So it depends on the availability of the contractor, but right now, we're gearing up for our summer improvement projects, so looking into next fiscal year and all the things that need to be done this summer to prepare for the opening of school. So we're still dealing with some of the leaks and improvements from water damage that we've been mitigating that we are still working through, plus we have summer improvement projects that we're doing. So there's just, until we get closer to the end of the year, we just won't know if the money is there to even meet the other half the boosters is willing to put up. So it's not a no, it's just we have to wait and see at this point.
Daryl, how much money's left in the board fund?
I don't know, we'd have to look.
Do you know, Amy?
A couple thousand.
Okay. Is it inappropriate for me to make a motion here that we take that money, since we were throwing around 3,200 a couple of weeks ago, that we take that? It's horrible. That thing's 60 years old. It leaks like crazy. It looks horrible. There's probably black mold on it. It's an embarrassment. And you know how I am about aesthetics. You know, I'm the one that pushed the walkway, the patio out in front of Coleraine to get that. That was awful too with the cracked cement. And now it looks nice. And we were able to get it done.
I don't think it's an urgent matter, and I don't really feel like board member comment time is the time for us to start bringing up new topics of conversation.
We've done that before. I've brought up motions. I've been on the board 16 years. And
Yeah,
I've brought,
I don't know that that's appropriate, because we could have
Well,
very easily added that to the agenda.
Nobody's ever made issue of it before, but I just want to get it done. And I mean, we're going into the rainy season, April showers bring May flowers, and to walk under that, I'm just asking if it's appropriate to make a motion to take the,
It's not a proper
I don't think so,
purpose
because
for a
we
board
haven't even
service
got the
fund.
bids. We don't even know who, I mean, somebody else could come in and want to do the same thing for, save a couple $1,000s.
Well-
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but just, not that the, you know, the boosters bring it and they've got one person or one company that gave a bid. Let's see the other bids and see if it makes sure
I mean,
it's
that's the thing.
comparing apples to apples.
As a district, we're trying to look at mitigating needs district-wide, and we have other buildings that have things that are leaking and things like that. So it's just, we're trying to look at the big picture. We just won't be able to make a decision about that from district funds right now until we get closer to the end of our fiscal year. Amy, you said something about the board service fund?
I said that's not a proper purpose for the board service fund. It's for board member.
I can't hear you, Amy.
It's not a proper public purpose for board service fund expenditure.
I was just asking.
I know.
I just want to get
letting
it
you know.
done because it is awful. There was even talk of just tearing it down. But it is certainly not a good reflection on our district. And that's all.
All right, and once again, the best part of every board meeting is the students. Really enjoyed the Northwest High School Book Club. That is really a wonderful activity that they're doing. It's great to see that they're taking their skills and sharing those with younger students and becoming good citizens of the community that they thrive in. So very happy to see that. I know this could be a difficult transition for us with the open enrollment. Hopefully, if the teachers or staff have questions, to please reach out and ask someone in the administration who has the knowledge in that area to address those issues. We as board members don't have the kind of knowledge about the curriculum programs, the IEPs, and all the other facets that go into that. You can certainly send us something, but that would need to be forwarded to the appropriate party. And I know there will be some questions about it. A lot of people will be upset initially. It is what it is. We move forward and do the best we can. But please, if you do have questions, don't rely on Facebook, don't rely on social media. please take it to the proper authorities, someone in the administrative offices that can address the concern appropriately. And with that, I ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second?